The following is a production of Stevenson Media. H-Town, what it do? My name is Nick Stevenson. I am the self-appointed president of Houston Sports Nation. The man to my left is Ruben Calvillo, Mr. 713. Welcome to episode number 62 of the Twin Toros podcast. I was looking at who we should give this one up to. We got City So. Hey, that's our most recent, number 62.
Oh my gosh.
Chad Slade from 2017. And then we got KC McDermott from 2022. Bo Ben Schwartzel. Ooh, I didn't even say that right. 2020. I'm going to give this one up to Antoine Caldwell, 2009. I think that's the good pull. I love doing the OGs, man.
I was going to say give it to Sidney So.
You think so?
It's just,
he played one game.
Let's just
and
give
was
it
not
to
good.
one of the worst offensive linemen we've ever seen in a Houston Texans uniform who was so bad he got benched. And is he still on the team?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I can't imagine that he is. I don't know how he got his name called for the start. I know we had some injuries because that was when two guys were out,
that
right?
was so stupid.
Howard was out. I think Ingram was out too. How in the world they came up with Sidney? So I have no clue. Because let's see, did Jared Patterson? They must really not like Drew Scruggs. If if Sidney So ended up getting the start, that's crazy. But anyway, episode number 62. Thank you guys so much for being here. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm really excited about this episode. But first, I'm gonna let Ruben pay some bills through Sleeper.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And if y'all told us, hey, y'all made some bread, we hit on the 3-man parlay. We had a Nico Collins anytime touchdown that hit. We had CJ Stroud over 234 passing yards. And then we had Daniel Jones under 225. Like we mentioned, opposing quarterbacks don't throw more than 200 yards against this Houston Texans secondary. Daniel Jones threw 201. Guys, shout out to Sleeper, man. They do a fantastic job. They are powering this episode. Think you know football, then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and choose more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use promo code 713HOU, and you get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply.
Man, it's not that hard to make money on Sleeper when you know ball, like Ruben Calvillo, Mr. 713. Hey. Good job, bro. Good job, man.
I'm glad for the next one.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to the Texans defense for hooking you up too, holding the number one offense in the league to just 16 points. And I'll be honest with you, they probably shouldn't have had 16 because there were some bad calls in this game that went both ways. But you and I have to agree that pass interference called on the young rookie the second-year man, Kalen Bullock, was absolute trash. And that led to a touchdown on the very next play. But let's talk about it. Houston Texans win.
Here's the thing. The thing. As a former ref myself, if the ball was in play, it's pass interference. Because the ball was basically in the stands.
Yeah.
As a referee, you are told, if the ball is uncatchable, which they have a signal for it, this is the signal for it.
Right.
You don't throw the flag. You can call holding. You can call illegal contact. Fine. But you cannot call pass interference because it was uncatchable. I'm sorry. That is the rules. I had a moment like that in LaPorte where it was clear as day. Pass interference. However, the ball hit the mascot on the sideline. I said, I'm sorry, coach. The ball was uncatchable. Yeah. That is the rules, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize for that. Shout out to Tasso allowing me to ref some games. That was a fun time of my life. But I go back to the delay of game. It should have been caught. We could say that. That's fine. We'll be dumb to not admit it.
Yeah. And that's what I
Pass
was
interference, flag was thrown. He was holding his hand the entire time. Both these teams benefited from a call, which immediately led to them putting up 7. Both these
yeah.
teams did.
And I want to talk about that because that's been a subject of a lot of uh internet scrutiny. I'm sorry, internet scrutiny. Thank you. Sorry. Got tongue tied there for a second. Um and here's the thing. I mean, we'll talk about it because the Texans get the win by 4 points, 20-16. And I think both, like you said, both teams benefited from some bad calls, and it happens in games. The amount of whining I've heard from Colts fans over the past several days is just it's unbelievable. Because
It's un
at the end of the day, Daniel Jones was on the field with more than 2 minutes to go, and he had an opportunity to win this game. And it was their offense versus the Texans defense. And at the end of the day, the Texans defense stood and did what they were supposed to do. And so for me, I I try not to be a hypocrite because, like we can admit that there were calls that should have gone against the Texans. But at the end of the day, if had the Texans lost this game, yeah, we could have pointed to a couple of things that didn't go their way. But at the end of the day, the final score is the final score. And if the Texans had given up that touchdown to Daniel Jones instead of getting a stop, then we would have had to tip our cap and say, "Hey, man, you scored on the number one defense in the NFL to win this game, and all due respect to you." But this is the type of game that makes me feel like uh, the Texans have a chance going forward, man. And we'll get into it. I want to show really quick the rest of their schedule. Obviously, we have the Chiefs next week. The Chiefs, you have an opportunity to put an end to their season. Then you have what you believe are winnable games: Cardinals versus Raiders, and
at
then
home, baby.
at home for sure in the crib. Then you go play the Chargers, who I don't think anybody's scared of the Chargers. They're a good team, but that's a winnable game.
Justin Herbert having surgery too.
Yeah, so here's the thing, man. And then you come back home to the crib to finish the season against the Colts. So for me, the Texans have a very unique opportunity. They don't necessarily have 100% their destiny in their own hands, but this is what you hope. You hope that the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Colts, they beat up on each other and they split their two games. And then looking at that schedule, Ruben, I think maybe you can afford to lose one, maybe two of those games.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you win out, you're in the playoffs. If you lose one, you may be able to win the division still, depending on what happens with the Colts and the Jaguars. If you lose two, you're going to need help from one of those teams falling apart. So how are you feeling going forward after this game? What you saw offensively from CJ Stroud, what you saw defensively, how are you feeling about this team in the next 5 games?
Yeah, well, like, let me first address what you brought up about the Indianapolis Colts fans and why they are whining so much. Um, they're whining so much, Nick, because they're running from the fact they're running so far from the truth that their team is fool's gold. We
Yep.
all knew this Indianapolis Colts team were frauds. Me and you had talked about it throughout the season. That come down is coming. That Daniel Jones experience is not going to last long. And it's not like he had a bad game on Sunday. There were some great throws that he made. He
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't enough.
Right.
And that's kind of what we've been saying this entire year. You stop Jonathan Taylor, you win the football game. Even though Kalen Bullock said it before the game and everyone was like, oh, this guy's talking trash, he was correct. And that's
100%.
exactly,
The
what
numbers bear it
happened.
out. Every time he
I
doesn't score a
cannot
touchdown, they
wait
lose.
for the round table tonight because Derek's going to be complaining about the refs, but I could bring up the multiple false starts that weren't called on the Indianapolis Colts offensive line. What about that play in the fourth quarter where the Colts receiver took 3 steps and then lost the football?
Yep.
The side judge was coming, Nick, and was about to wait, like he was about to start waving his hands. The back judge comes and said, no, it was an incomplete pass. That should have been a fumble. But I digress. The Houston Texans' destiny, it's right in front of them.
Yep.
I'm still on the mindset of I don't care about the division right now.
Okay.
If we get to it, we get to it. It looks like there is a chance. But after starting 0-3, we were just saying, just make the playoffs.
Right.
Just make the playoffs. And now it looks like they are, in fact, on the right track to make the playoffs. It was, what was the percentages? 76% that you were going to make the playoffs if you did beat the Indianapolis Colts. Only
Hmm.
26% if you didn't.
Yeah,
76%, I'll take that, baby. C's get you
100%.
grease. And now you look at what's coming up. The Kansas City Chiefs, who look like they're on their last leg, look like the past decade of playoff football and Super Bowls has finally caught up to this team. You can end the Chiefs season on Sunday Night Football in Arrowhead, a place where your season was ended last year in
Hmm.
the divisional round of the playoffs. You want to talk about momentum, Nick? You win in Kansas City, and you could look at this 5 game stretch here and say, this might be the greatest 5 game stretch in Houston Texans season history because you beat quality football teams. Believe it or not, Jacksonville Jaguars, right now, they're a playoff team.
Hmm.
The Buffalo Bills, playoff team, MVP quarterback. Indianapolis Colts, they were 8 and what? They were 8-3.
They were
They were, they were 8-3. Kansas City, Pat Mahomes,
dynasty.
Arrowhead. This would be your greatest stretch ever in Houston Texan history during the regular season. And when that happens on Sunday night, the conversation we're going to have is why not us for the Super Bowl this year?
Who
Why can't it be the Houston Texans representing the AFC this year?
who in the AFC scares you? To be honest, I mean, I know the Patriots have a good record, but are you scared of
Yeah.
Drake May and the Patriots? We're
I'm
not.
not scared of anyone with this defense.
We know we're not scared of the Bills. We know we're not scared of the Jags, the Colts. Uh, if the Ravens somehow sneak in, that's the only one that I'm gonna be a little bit nervous about. To be honest with
Uh,
you,
they're not.
I don't know if they're gonna
They have a
sneak in.
long hill to climb.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's the Steelers, you scared of them? I mean, the AFC is wide open right now, and with this defense, like you said, not really scared to face anybody. You just got to get in the dance, and this is where we're gonna find out how professional, how businesslike this team is, because you cannot go and lose to the Raiders or the Cardinals if you're on a mission to make the postseason and go farther than you've ever gone before in that postseason. You cannot have a letdown against those teams. If you lose to the Chiefs, man, I'm going to tell you, listen, you're in Arrowhead. It's probably going to be cold. You know, as long as it's not a blowout, I'm not going to destroy this team. But if you lose one of these games that you're supposed to be just marking down as a dub automatically,
Mhm.
that's going to be problematic. So if they take care of their business, I think they'll be where we want them to be. And I'm going to have a lot of confidence going into a playoff game against anybody in the AFC.
No, 100%. And, moving back to this game and talking about the performance of CJ Stroud, it looked rusty in the first half. The criticism was loud. Man, I have this guy in my chat, Ayush. As soon as something goes wrong, dude, it's over. Texans suck. Bench CJ Stroud. Bring back Davis Mills.
Yeah.
And for the first half, you were just like, what is going on? Obviously, CJ hasn't played football in a month. So you're like, this dude's just off. It might be one of those days. And he even said it himself. Hopefully it's the first play of the game. If not, hopefully later on. Well, later on, CJ Stroud, he looked good. Quarters
Yes.
3 and 4, CJ Stroud was money. And
Hmm.
I mean, was responding to what Indianapolis was doing. You score, I'll go score. You need me to get a first down, I'll get a first down. You need me to make clutch throws on 3rd and long, I'll do that. The play where he's running to his right finds Cade Stover for 11 yards. What a throw by CJ Stroud. You
Yeah.
talk about the throw to Nico Collins where he stepped out of bounds. If he would have ballerinaed into the end zone, that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But a great throw by CJ Stroud. In the second half, CJ Stroud looked like the guy that we saw against the San Francisco 49ers, that we saw against the first quarter against the Denver Broncos. And that was just
Yeah.
moving the football, not turning the football over after he had that ugly interception in the second quarter. CJ Stroud looked night and different in quarters 3 and 4 compared to 1 and 2. Got you, just enough to get you the win is what we've been talking about the last few weeks for this Houston Texans team. CJ Stroud, I think he did well. I think he handled the situation good.
Yeah.
I said last week that the Texans got their biggest win of the season. This was supposed to be CJ's biggest win of the season, and man, he got it in the Stroud house. He's now 4-1 against the Indianapolis Colts. Good job, CJ.
No, 100%. I kind of threw up his stats there because the rating wasn't great, obviously at a 75.4, but that had much to do with, like we said, shaking off that rust. And, once he settled in, he kind of looked like you said, he looked to me very similar to what we saw in that 49ers game and that Broncos game. And for me, that's going to be the key. JJ Watt in the broadcast, he highlighted it a couple of times. CJ has still got to get used to the fact that he's actually got an offensive line that's giving him some time. And if there's one thing that I feel like Davis Mills did a little bit better than CJ, and it wasn't much, trust me, CJ should be the starting quarterback. But Davis Mills will stand in that pocket, and he will trust that pocket, and he will get that ball out. Now, it's not always accurate, but he stands in there and he takes it. And I think if CJ can just get that in his mind, he has a couple of split seconds longer before he bails out. And also hit his check down, man. That's my only criticism about, sometimes just take the check down, man. I know he always wants that big play, and that's what makes him
He
great.
was taking a check down.
There's a couple of times he ignored it too. I mean, I'm nitpicking here because overall I think he played a good game, but there's times where he can hit that check down, and he's gotten better at it for sure. And I think sitting back and watching Davis Mills probably helped a lot. But like I said, I'm nitpicking. I don't want to be too hard on CJ, but there's just he's got room to get better, and if he does, this team's dangerous.
He had a great quote about Davis Mills. I'm going to see if I could find it here, but we talked about this being a high pressure game for CJ Stroud because of what Davis Mills did
Mm-hmm.
the last 3 weeks, and what um CJ really had to do was just get a win.
Yeah.
What CJ Shaw said on Davis Mills on the Pat McAfee show, that's my brother. I always support him, always root him on. I just think it's funny that people ask these questions now because he had some really good games. I root that on. I think he's a start in the NFL, and he's proven that. I just think it's funny how people can try to switch the narrative to make it seem like I'm some guy that's like, no, when it's good for the team and sometimes not great for me. I got to be happy because that's more important than my personal desires. I put the team before me anytime. And I think that's talking about that moment where the team's having their meeting after the Bills
Yeah.
game, and someone, they screenshot the photo of him looking upset. Man,
Yeah.
the amount of just bull
Yeah.
CJ Stroud has had to go with this last month is crazy. But we hope that it just carries on going forward and you're winning football games.
Yeah. But you
Win
know
on
what?
Sunday night against Kansas City, dude.
Oh
my
yeah.
God.
And I feel like the media gave him his flowers for coming back after almost a month off, and he ended up on the Pat McAfee show. And actually, Pat McAfee brought up, he's like, "Hey man, I saw a screenshot. He was kind of tongue in cheek. Hey man, I saw a screenshot. You were looking salty." Basically pointing out the fact that it's stupid. If you watch the whole video, obviously CJ was happy that the team got the win. There's just the vibes around this team right now. If I'd have told you 4 weeks ago that they had a chance to win the division, even be in the conversation of that, and that they had over 75% chance to make the playoffs, even like I said, even just 4 weeks ago, somebody would have told me, "Man, you're nuts. That's crazy." But the turnaround, the fact, and it's been a complete team effort. We talked about Davis Mills, what he did. We've talked about I don't think we actually brought it up when they made the announcement, but obviously Joe Mixon's done for the season. So you bring in Nick Chubb, you got the rookie Woody Marks filling in a huge hole. I mean, they're not, obviously you can't replace Joe Mixon, and they haven't production-wise. But, I mean, they ran the ball very well in this game, and Woody Marks has been a very impressive rookie. Just to like we said,
impressive.
from the 0-3 start.
Like he gets hurt every game.
I know, but he's tough as nails, bro. That's what every time I see him come out, I'm like, oh, man, we got to run Chubb. And he always comes back out there. Now, I hope he stays healthy, obviously, because we're going to need him down the stretch. Azeez Al-Shaair, hopefully we're going to need him down the stretch. Need to get healthy in the secondary. I'm not sure if Jalen Reed's going to be able to make it back after I read that he actually broke the metal plate in his arm, which is crazy. I know that had to hurt. When I saw him crying, I was like, he broke something. So a little bit nicked up in the defense, man, but I'm telling you, at this point, the Texans are playing with house money. They have nothing to lose. Just go out there, let your hair down, get off to the quarterback. And Nick Caley, Man, I think the Texans understand what their offense is and isn't right now. I think CJ needs to understand, man, a lot of those big plays that we were getting in our first year with Bobby Slowick, those might not be in the cards this year. Let's just take what the defense gives us. Look, Tom Brady became the greatest of all time, nickel and diamond teams. And if you can do that and just put up that 20 points, that is all you're going to need with this defense. You can go as far as you want to go in the playoffs.
No, absolutely. And if you score more than 20, I mean, that's just, icing on the cake. And also, it's also crazy to think like, oh, CJ Stroud is going to become this game manager when we know that CJ Stroud is capable of putting up some fantastic performances. This team is just a recipe for disaster going forward in terms of, what they could be to other teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're going to get from the defense, but you do not know what you're going to get from the Houston Texan offense. And maybe now we could just start using that as an advantage, right? Maybe now, we
Yeah.
can start using the unknown for us. But in all
Hey,
honesty,
we
you hope
gotta
this
lose
offense.
the tush push though. After
I
you try
I
it
don't
back,
mind the push
after you
push.
try it back to back, and
They spotted us wrong
okay,
on that third down.
I felt
Oh,
like the first
now
spot was wrong. I felt like the
the
first
first
spot was
spot
wrong.
was wrong. The first, I mean, dude, I thought it was a first down.
Yeah,
For the referee to pick the ball up, take a step to the right, I was like, "What are you doing?"
yeah, yeah. No, I thought the first
In
spot
that
was wrong, but that
situation, I
second
would have
one,
kicked a field goal.
it's kind of the same thing with our red zone and our goal to go problems. Like if you want to be the team that we all hope you are, you've got to be able to get that 1 yard without trying to do trickery. Get that 1 yard. You should be able to hand it off to Nick Chubb and have that offensive line push that defensive line back the last one it wasn't even a full yard. It was like, maybe inches to go. So, I don't know, man. I feel really good though that we're not having to talk about the draft. We're going to have meaningful football all of December and hopefully into January as well as we take on the Colts at home. Have we found out anything about these rivalry jerseys yet?
Last thing I heard, people have signed these heavy NDAs.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm looking forward to continuing to do this show with you, man. Looking forward to doing this after the Chiefs game. I'm going to be tuning in to your live stream wherever you're at because I'm going to be working until that evening. So I'm not going to be able to be out amongst the peoples, but I will definitely be tuned in to what you got going on in your live stream. Hopefully you'll be hitting some more of those sleeper picks.
needed.
For sure. Go ahead and run that promo one more time before we get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Sleeper is giving you a free $20 entry, no deposit needed. Just type in 713HOU, and you also get up to a 100 deposit match up to $100. Guys, we love y'all.
Yeah, Ruben, this is why you can't quit the Texans, man. You remember early
Why?
in the season, we were like, man, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to do this, man. We can't quit these dudes, bro.
Man, we can't.
They keep drawing us back in.
Just the wave of emotions. Like
Yeah.
it's 0-3. It's not even Halloween, and you're like, we're one game away from just having our season cooked,
Yeah.
and then you've won 7 out of your last 9,
Did you make
and
any
you're on a
shorts?
4-game winning streak.
Did you make any shorts out of the live stream you did for the Jacksonville game?
No.
You should have, bro. That is, if you want a snapshot of the emotion of this season, go back and watch Ruben's live stream of the Jags versus Texans when the Texans came back from 29-10 in the fourth quarter. It's pure entertainment, bro. I'm if you don't make the short, I'm gonna make it for you. When the game's over and you just start laughing hysterically. It was
That's
like
what this team does.
yeah, you just start laughing hysterically, and it's because you went through all of the emotions. And shout out to you for staying on the stream because I probably would have turned it off, bro, when they were down 29-10. But like I said, man, Ruben, Mr. 713, he can't quit the Texans. I can't quit the Texans. We can't quit this show. We love you guys, man. We're gonna see you next week after the Chiefs hopefully take a beat down from our Houston Texans. In the meantime, stay 10 toes down for the H. We love you. Good night.